Yeah, welcome back. And now we will discuss about fluorescent lamps. What actually the fluorescent lamps are, how do they work, and where we can use them. And most importantly, what are the advantages which are offered by fluorescent lamps when compared to incandescent lamps. See, in the picture background, you might be seeing that this is a fluorescent lighting, right? So fluorescent lamps generally work on the principle of fluorescence. So it is just like scintillating, what we call it as when charged particles, when they hit some sort of fluorescent screen, then automatically you will see some sort of luminescence, right? So it's just like you use a screen which can illuminate on hitting of a particle. So it is just like if you slap someone, automatically what happens, your skin will become red, right? So similarly, when you take some charged particles, you hit a screen. If the screen can emit some sort of illumination, then automatically it is called as fluorescence. One such material which is generally employed is phosphorus. You know, phosphorus has the property of emitting lights when being hit by some things, right? Not by some things, those must be charged particles. So, your fluorescent lamp is, which we call it as a fluorescent light bulb, it utilizes the phenomenon of fluorescence. It's a very efficient alternative when compared to the energy efficient alternative when compared to your incandescent lamps. The simple principle, when an electric current is passed through the gas, it ionizes, thereby produces UV radiation. This UV radiation then strikes a phosphorus coating, causing it to emit visible lights. So this is the principle here. So this is your aluminum cap, and this is your electrode coil. When you allow the current to pass through this one, automatically what happens is you will be having some particles which do come out, and these particles, they will hit this phosphorus coating, whatever the coating which you do have. This is your phosphorus coating, the surface. When they hit it, then automatically you will be getting some sort of luminescence, or what we call it as illumination. And this one is basically argon gas, and this is your entire glass chamber which is being coated with phosphor. And you can find liquid mercury here and there. Now, the simple principle is, it consists of a long glass tube generally filled with a low pressure gas, typically argon and mercury vapor or any other inert gas. And the inside of tube is coated with phosphorus material or any blends of any phosphorus salts which are available naturally. And the cathode is generally made up of coiled tungsten coated with some other material such that the temperature, thermionic emission temperature, is very low. You need to maintain the temperature very low, not like your incandescent lamp where the temperature can go high. So when this tungsten filament, when the current passes through this one, it automatically emits some particles which when they hit the screen, then automatically you can see it in the form of lights. Your tube light, which we generally use at our homes, is a form of your fluorescent lamp. But it has its own advantage and disadvantage. The biggest advantage is that you are not wasting energy in the form of heat. Whatever the energy which you are giving it, it will be mostly utilized in form of light itself. So that's why they are considered as more energy efficient when compared to incandescent lamp. They are 4 times more efficient, which means that they produce more amount of light, 4 times more lights for the same amount of electricity which they consume. And they have very longer lifespan, somewhere typically between 10,000 to 20,000, which is 10 times higher than that of your incandescent lamps. And one more advantage is that they can produce a very cool white light. You can see your tube lights, they can be very of cool white lights, whereas your incandescent lamps, they produce a warm yellowish to reddish light, right? So both are quite opposite. So you can have very cool white lights, which is generally preferred for workplaces and offices or where visibility is more important. Then you go with the white lamps. You call that as color rendering index, CRI. It will be higher in case of fluorescent lamps when compared to your incandescent lamps, which means that they can render your colors very accurately. And one more biggest thing is that they are available in different sizes. The latest trend, you can find the compact fluorescent lamps, which you can directly place them in the same incandescent lamp holder, or you can use them in the form of sizes, in different sizes, just like your tube light or a miniature tube light, or you can go for flood lighting or U-shaped tube. Different types are available based upon your requirements. But they do have their own limitations. The biggest problem is that they do have a warm-up time. Even if you see at your home also, the moment you turn it on, your incandescent lamp will glow very quickly. But whereas a tube lamp, a tube light will take its own time to turn on. So which means that they are having a warm-up time. Maybe it's a very bit less, but it is still sometimes more important. So they do require some warm-up time to reach their full brightness. The other thing is they exhibit visible flickering. This is one of the most important things, because it is just like in a tungsten lamp you will be getting a continuous light, but whereas here the particles will be coming and hitting the screen, so it is just like a visible flickering, which you might not be able to see with your naked eye, but you can, if you do have an iPhone, if you can record it, then you can see that there is a visible flicker. And in particular, when they get aged, the flickering will be more obvious, and they do contain a small amount of mercury vapor. You know, mercury vapor is a greenhouse material, so it is hazardous. So that's why when you dispose it after the usage, you must be very careful so that you ensure that your environment is taken care of. And moreover, in olden days they didn't use this separate ballast, but nowadays they are using a separate ballast to regulate the electric currents. That I'll show you when I go through the CFL lamps that I'll explain to you. And yeah, coming to conclusion. See in the picture, what you can see is nothing but here these are all fluorescent lamps. You can see that cool white lights, whereas an incandescent lamp you will be getting a warm lamp. So many countries have phased out the incandescent lamps in favor of the more efficient, energy efficient alternatives. The one thing is fluorescent lamps, and advanced thing is that we do have CFLs, compact fluorescent lamps, and also light emitting diodes. And nowadays we do get halogen lamps. These things we will discuss in the next class. Okay. And even now fluorescent lamps are also are being phased out. We are going with LED lamps now. Okay. So in the next class we will discuss about compact fluorescent lamps and also LED lamps. How do they work and what are their advantages, and if there are any disadvantages, we will discuss them also. Okay. Thank you. And describe your homework is, you take a picture of the lamps which are there at your home. You see what is the wattage of these lamps, and you check what amount of light which you are getting. You compare what is the light which you are getting for the same rating of your fluorescent lamp and also your incandescent lamp, and get a report, and we'll discuss the same in the class. Okay, thank you.